Think about the last time someone completely misunderstood you. Or worse, the last time someone falsely accused you, insulted your character, or questioned your value. What did your body do? Your heart rate spiked, your chest tightened, and immediately your brain screamed at you to speak. You felt an overwhelming, desperate need to explain yourself, to set the record straight, to prove them wrong. But here is a dark psychological truth that manipulators, narcissists, and powerful people know. The moment you start desperately explaining yourself to someone who has already decided to misunderstand you, you have lost. You have handed them the keys to your nervous system. You have entered their reality, and you are playing by their rules. Over-explaining is not communication. It is a trauma response. It is your ego begging for external validation. It screams, "Please see me. Please believe me. Please give me my worth back." But what if there was another way? What if, when faced with total disrespect, you did not offer a single word of defense? Over 2,000 years ago, Jesus of Nazareth faced the ultimate psychological attack. His reputation was destroyed, his friends abandoned him, and his life was on the line. Yet, his reaction remains the greatest masterclass in psychological sovereignty and emotional control ever recorded in human history. Today, we are going to decode the unshakable frame. Before we look at the ultimate historical example, you need to understand why your mind betrays you in moments of conflict. Human beings are wired for tribal connection. In ancient times, if the tribe misunderstood you or exiled you, you died. So, when someone attacks your character today, whether it is a toxic boss, a manipulative partner, or a disrespectful friend, your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, fires up as if your life is in physical danger. Your ego steps in as a bodyguard. It tells you that if you just use the right words, if you just explain your side of the story loud enough, you can fix the situation. You can change their mind. But the ego is blind to power dynamics. When you rush to defend yourself against an unfair attack, you are subconsciously signaling that the attacker has authority over your identity. You are treating them as the judge, and you are placing yourself in the position of the defendant. You elevate their status and lower your own. The person who speaks the most in a confrontation is usually the one with the least amount of power. They are burning energy. They are revealing their insecurities. They are giving the attacker exactly what they want, a reaction. Manipulators feed on your emotional chaos. If they can make you angry, if they can make you defensive, they own you. Jesus understood this deeply. He knew that true power does not need to announce itself. True authority does not need to beg for a jury's approval. Let's look at the historical text. It is the morning of the crucifixion. Jesus is standing in the praetorium, facing Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea. Understand the scene. The room is heavy with tension. Outside, a mob is screaming for blood. The religious leaders are firing brutal, fabricated accusations at Jesus, trying to paint him as a terrorist and a fraud. Pilate has the absolute authority of the Roman Empire behind him. With a single word, he can order an execution, or he can grant freedom. If there was ever a time to speak up, this was it. This was the moment to present the evidence. This was the moment to argue the facts, to point out the hypocrisy of the Pharisees, and to defend his innocence. But read Matthew chapter 27, verse 14. It says, "But Jesus made no reply, not even to a single charge, to the great amazement of the governor." Stop and analyze that word. Amazement. Some translations say Pilate marveled. Why was Pilate amazed? Pilate was a hardened Roman politician. He had seen thousands of men stand where Jesus was standing. He had seen murderers, thieves, and rebels. And what do men do when facing death? They beg. They cry. They lie. They throw their friends under the bus. They talk and talk and talk, desperately trying to survive. But standing before him was a man whose nervous system was in absolute terrifying peace. Jesus did not twitch. He did not raise his voice. He gave them absolute, deafening silence. Psychologically, what did this silence do? First, it established dominance. By refusing to answer the false charges, Jesus rejected Pilate's frame. He essentially communicated, "Your court is an illusion. Your authority over my soul does not exist." I do not recognize this trial as legitimate. Therefore, I will not participate in it. Second, silence acts as a mirror. When a manipulator attacks you and you give them nothing but a calm, unbothered stare, their words have nowhere to land. The toxic energy bounces off of you and reflects straight back onto them. They are forced to sit in the awkward, echoing silence of their own foolishness. Pilate was unnerved because he realized he had no psychological leverage. You cannot manipulate a man who does not fear you and does not need your approval. Jesus' silence was not weakness. It was the ultimate display of contained strength. He knew exactly who he was. His identity was anchored in God, not in the shifting opinions of an angry mob or a corrupt politician. When you truly know who you are, you do not need to convince anyone else. So, how do you apply the mind of Christ to your life today? How do you build this unshakable frame? Use the 3-second rule. The next time someone throws a passive-aggressive comment at you, insults you, or tries to drag you into a toxic argument, do not respond immediately. Breathe. Hold eye contact. Count to 3 in your head. Watch how uncomfortable they become in that silence. They expect you to react. Deny them that pleasure. Relinquish the need to be understood. This is the hardest psychological shift you will ever make, but it is the most liberating. Accept that some people are committed to misunderstanding you. Their perception of you is their problem, not yours. Let them be wrong about you. Let them talk behind your back. Your destiny is not tied to their validation. The moment you stop trying to control how others see you, you take all your energy back. Anchor your identity. You can only remain silent under pressure if your identity is secure. If your self-worth is based on your job title, your relationship status, or your reputation, you will always be a slave to the people who can take those things away. Jesus could remain silent because his identity was untouchable. Build your foundation on eternal truths, not temporary opinions. The ego is loud, frantic, and fragile. It constantly demands to be heard. But the spirit is quiet, calm, and immensely powerful. You do not need to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not need to defend your existence to people who do not matter to your purpose. Sometimes the most devastating response you can give to an enemy is absolute, unbothered silence. Mastering this level of emotional control is not natural. It requires profound discipline and a mind anchored in something greater than the chaos of this world. If you have the mental fortitude to apply this today, if you are ready to stop being a slave to the reactions of others, I want you to go down to the comments right now and type, "I am unshakable." Subscribe to the channel and join us as we continue to decode the ultimate blueprint for human mastery. Do not let anyone pull you out of your frame. I will see you in the next video.